We'll start with this one. Now, have you guys heard about this? They want to... There's been talk of a My Bloody Valentine sequel since the 90s. But honestly, I never gave it that much of a thought, the first movie's perfect the way it is for me. And it is a movie I think that does beg to have a sequel. Isn't it strange that we only have the first movie and we have a remake? That's it. It's weird to me. How do we not have a sequel to this? Because I think the gas mask killer is easily one of the most visually striking killers out there. And he's just he could be like an A-level icon. He really could. If we had at least 3 My Bloody Valentine movies, I think he would be up there with at least Leatherface, Chucky, I'm just reaching up to the big 3. He could be there. Do you guys agree with that? Or do you think he's just another slasher that, isn't really that great? I think he's awesome. I really do. And they have some great kills. I think some of the best kills in the slasher subgenre are from My Bloody Valentine. Especially if you watch the extended cut, and then if you go and watch the remake, oh my God, they really go all out with the freaking kills. They even kill a little person in the remake, which is crazy. I was glad. It's finally little people get some slasher love, because we rarely see little people in slasher movies. I guess we do see them sometimes in horror movies, but it was cool to see some little people love in a slasher movie. But going down, I kind of read through this. George Mahalka, he had been pushing for a sequel to My Bloody Valentine for years, and he pitched basically just a straight up slasher. There were going to be just regular teens in the movie. And I don't think there was going to be the love triangle aspect. It was just going to be more in the formula of Friday the 13th. That's kind of the route that Mahalka was wanting to go for. And that's what he pitched. And they turned him down. They said, what makes the original so great is it's not like every other slasher. There's a little bit more to the story. There's a little bit more heartache to the story. It's a little heartbreaking with this love triangle and everything. So that's one of the reasons why I think My Bloody Valentine has stood the test of time. It is a unique slasher. And so, years go by and they go back and forth to the drawing board. And I guess they had 3 different sequels in mind, ideas that they pitched, but they still could never get it off the ground. So, and I'm paraphrasing all this stuff because I'm not going to read you this whole thing, but I did read through it before this, and that's what I pretty much got from it. 3 entirely separate stories separate stories were ultimately pitched to the director over the years. Yeah. Then the remake happened, and any talk of a sequel stopped. There was no chance of it ever being made, and sadly, Mr. Dunning passed away in 2011 at the age of 84. And I'm thinking Dunning might have been one of the writers. I'll have to go back and look at that. But I'm looking. I know now they're talking about doing it again. And I think they're talking about having Axel come back in some way. So if they had Axel come back, I wonder if they would make him the killer. Or if they would actually, make it another whodunit. I think that's the irresistible way to go. So, what do you guys think? Would you welcome another My Bloody Valentine? I would. I love My Bloody Valentine, so I think it'd be awesome. Chappie says, what are your thoughts on the whole Joss Whedon situation that's been going on lately with a lot of people exposing him for abuse? Oh, man, that's a hot button issue right there. Jesus. I'm aware of it. I remember reading it on Twitter. Look, a safe workplace, I think, is essential, and not just in Hollywood. Any job you go to, if you feel abused, then that's a horrible thing. And I'm sure you've had a boss that you freaking hated, and it's like, have you ever been at a job where you like the job, but the thought of seeing that motherfucker just makes you like want to freaking lose your mind, Because I've been in that situation before. I've been in a situation where I would go to work and I would almost have a panic attack because I didn't want to deal with this asshole. Not without going into too many specifics, but one thing I hated about him was the way he treated all the employees, because he was a boss, which I've been a manager before. I've been a boss before. I was in the military for 24 years. I always tried to treat my employees with respect, because that's just going to make them want to work harder for you anyway. Plus, I just don't like being a dick to people. I really don't. So I had to leave that job. I couldn't stand the sight of the guy, and plus, who wants to go, like, I can think of maybe a couple people in my life that I really like. I hate to use the word hate, okay? I don't think I hate anybody, but there's some people in my life that I don't really like a lot. And this guy was one of them, So I get where these employees are coming from. But one thing that's strange is, like, why now after, we're talking 20 years ago, right, guys? So it's strange to me that why this is coming up now, 20 years later, Like, I can understand, like, if it's like major sexual harassment or something like that. I don't think there's any time limit on that, I'm not a female. I don't know. I can't think like a female, but what I do know is that some of that stuff, it gets suppressed and it's hard to get it out there, So I completely understand that. I would never fault anybody in waiting or even never telling, if it involves like sexual harassment, sexual assault, abuse. Yeah. But, they never said anything about Joss Whedon sexually harassing anybody. It was just, so it was kind of strange for me to go, for to wait 20 years to let it out there, and then you get that. Here's a big thing with Twitter. Okay. And I don't want to make this whole thing about that, but there's a heavy element of peer pressure on Twitter. If one person jumps out, then, oh, you're my friend, so I have to jump out there and do that too, instead of think for myself, And that doesn't always happen, but it does happen a lot. So, yeah. And that's all I'll say about the Joss Whedon situation. That's the only question I have. I'm totally, against abuse in the workplace. If he did what they're saying he did, which I don't know how specific they were, but yeah, that's not right. That's not right at all. You got to treat people with respect. Like, I'll say, like, what Tom Cruise did recently with the COVID mask thing. That's fine. That's completely fine. I don't take this as I'm saying you can't yell at stupid employees. Sometimes you have to say, you're being an idiot right now. Stop being an idiot. That's what Tom Cruise was doing. And let's get back to work. Real quick, boom, boom. Stop fucking up. Let's get back to work. That's pretty much what he did. And I think it's different when somebody just every single day, for no reason whatsoever, you come into work and it's just abuse, constant abuse every freaking day. Yeah, gets old.